Hey everybody, I'm Samuel Deuth and welcome to this course on the process of promotion, 9 ways that God uses obscurity to prepare you for your purpose. I'm so excited to jump into this. I'm excited about going through this with you guys. And honestly, this is one of those journeys literally that it's about a 10 years in the making book and project. You know, most of the book projects that I've got are typically maybe just that year, that season. I'm leaning into something, producing it. But this is one of those and kind of fitting for the story of being about process, about journey, about obscurity, about things that I'm dealing with. The fact that this is one of those books that actually took a little more time in the oven, a little bit more marination, actually is part of, I think, the God story of the book. So obscurity, just to kind of define that a bit, and that God uses it, it's those hidden seasons. It's those overlooked seasons. It's those kind of in the dark type of seasons. I start off in the introduction with this kind of few paragraphs I'll just read and just go, hey, if any of this pings you, if any of this kind of locates you a little bit, then I know that these next sessions together, the book is going to be good for you and encourage you. So I start off with asking this: have you ever felt unknown? Okay, check. There we go. Have you ever felt overlooked, undervalued? Have you ever found yourself wondering if God or people notice the effort, passion, drive, the hours, the serving, the investment you've made? Do you ever feel called to do great levels of influence, great things for God, but feel like you're the only one who sees it? Come on, I know I've been there. Have you ever felt your big dreams shrink to more of a manageable size? Has it ever felt like your dream is being delayed? Have you ever been tempted to second guess the call of God on your life? Do you feel like you've been stuck in maybe this current season for too long? Have you ever thought about quitting? In bold font in the book, I just say, I know I have. And the truth of the matter is, I imagine that most of us have found ourselves somewhere in one of those questions. And in our seasons of obscurity, these hidden seasons that God takes us through in the process of promoting you, the process of your calling, the process of where He's taking you, in those seasons, God is doing something miraculous. He is shaping you. He is developing you. He's fine-tuning you. But oftentimes, our instinct human nature, when we're faced with all this, is that we have a default to go, man, something's just not working. I think I'm just going to quit. I think I'll throw in the towel. Man, I'm done with this whole scenario. And so we can oftentimes misrepresent or kind of diagnose the season that you're in. If you're being overlooked right now, if you find yourself undervalued, underappreciated, if you feel like it's just not working, chances are high that everything is actually working exactly how God designed it. Why would I say that? I have been living this. When I first feel called to ministry leadership, which is kind of the thing that I feel called to and that I've been running in, I was about 13. I'm about to be 40 years old, right? So what is that? 27 years where I have walked through different seasons of calling, of process, of preparation, and into different levels of promotion. Now, this isn't just a one-time thing where, okay, this is for young people coming out of high school or people in college or just young leaders, so to speak. What you'll find is that there's elements of this process where God will take you through different rounds of it, different seasons of promotion. God will use obscurity to develop you and shape you for a season, and then you may be in that moment for a while. You may be in that level, so to speak, for a while, and then God's going to get ready to promote you again. He wants to take you to a new level or a new season, and you'll often find that God will take you through additional elements of this, another round of it, where God is testing you again. He's developing you again. He's processing you again. And I love this in Philippians chapter 1, verse 6. This is a promise from God. It's an encouragement that you and I can live in. Be confident of this, that He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. So you're not abandoned. right? You're not just lost in a season of preparation. If you're in this season, if you're on the process, that means that God is working something. And if God started it, He is a completer of things. He will not leave you where you are. He did not call you to abandon you. He did not give you a dream and a passion and a desire to change the world only to leave you in that situation. He has called you. He's equipped you. He's calling you out and into greatness. He's calling you out and into your purpose. And so I'm telling you what, I've loved this season. Well, I got to be really honest. I don't know that I've loved all the seasons of obscurity where God has been promoting or testing and developing me to get ready for the seasons of promotion. But I'm telling you, in hindsight, I wouldn't trade any ounce of it. I wouldn't abandon it. You got to stay in the game, so to speak. You got to stay in the process where God is promoting you. I talk about it in the book, but I want to just highlight it because I just think it's such a fun part of the inception of how God brought this book to be. So I would say, again, about 10 years ago, I was a youth pastor up in the Northwest, and I would travel and help serve my lead pastor when he would go on ministry trips as well. I love doing that. I love supporting leaders. I love, finding ways to kind of alleviate the weight that's on them so they can stay focused in their lane and in their zone. I love doing that even to this day in different settings and different forums. But in that moment, I'm traveling with him. I'm taking care of him. And I was also a youth pastor, and I've been asked to go and preach at a church up in Canada, one of their youth camps. So while I'm in a hotel room traveling and supporting in very much a kind of a obscure, hidden, serving type of a role, God begins to give me some of these ideas, and I'm first drafting out these 9 ways that God uses obscurity, these hidden seasons to prepare us. Because I knew I had a leadership session that I was teaching at this youth camp in Canada. And so I start to pen them out in a very obscure place, serving in a hotel, out traveling. I begin to craft those out. Then some months later, I'm in Canada, and I'm preaching at this youth camp. It's a great church, but not necessarily some massive youth event or conference. And the camp is sort of out in the back skirts of Canada and is a little bit of an obscure youth camp area in the middle of nowhere. And so we're preaching the general sessions, and that was great. And then the next day I was going to teach these principles to the youth leaders. And we were originally going to be in one of the main kind of meeting space, the youth area where the general sessions were at, and the band needed to practice in there, and so we had to find another place. So it was like, okay, maybe outside on the bleachers, they could all be out there, all the leaders, and I'll teach there. But it was raining a bit, so the only place that they could find for me to teach this was a big yellow school bus. So the big yellow school bus that we had transported the kids in now became the only place where we could have this leadership session. So all of the youth leaders, they pile into this bus, pack into the back of it, fill it up, and I stand at the front of the school bus and I teach for the very first time the principles that are in this book. I taught on obscurity. And in hindsight, I don't think God could have picked a better inception for this story. And maybe that's what drew me to the color of the book, potentially a little bit of the black and yellow school bus vibes a little bit. And so it was in that season of obscurity that the birthplace of this. And I've fleshed out the book, and then God really kind of had me shelve it. And even in these last years since I shelved the book, God has continued to shape, form, transform, and I believe that this book and the rest of this course are going to be transformational if you allow it. If you allow God to speak, if you allow God to help you get a better location. Like when you go to a mall and you have the big maps and it says you are here, it locates you. I believe that these sessions, the principles in this book are going to locate you. It's going to help you see where you're at. Why are you facing what you're facing right now? It'll help you feel less discouraged, I believe, because you realize that the mode that you're in right now is not just because somebody's out to get you. It's not because somebody's stopping you. It's not because God's mad at you. It's actually because he loves you and he is shaping you for your purpose. I know for me, I am so glad that God did not give me everything that I saw, all the dreams I had, the visions I had, the prophetic word that was given to me. I'm so glad I didn't get everything right then and there when I was 13. I wanted it right away. I was shocked that I didn't have it right away, but I'm so glad that God put me through the process of promotion. I'm so glad that he shaped me and prepared me. What I carry now, I would have destroyed me if I was given that when I was 20 years ago, right? The 20 years plus version that you're seeing right now on the screen from the original seasons of feeling called and having purpose and having the vision, what I carry now would have crushed me then. And I still know that there's things yet that are not fulfilled, things that I still know that God has for me, that even though there's parts of me that would want them right now, I'm going to trust God. I'm going to trust the process that God has me on. Because if God hasn't given it to me yet, if he's not promoted me to that place yet, then it's not because he's holding out at me. It's not because my boss or my pastors or my leaders or my world is holding me back. If I'm not where that next level yet, then there's a reason. God is withholding that. He's holding me off from that purpose and that promotion because he's shaping me, because he loves me for who I am and doesn't want that next season to break me prematurely if I'm not ready to actually handle everything that he wants to bring into my life. And I know the same thing is happening in your world. Don't freak out. Don't panic. Don't be mad that you're not where you want to be yet. Just keep growing. Keep on this process. Stay in the process and allow God to promote, allow God to build, and allow God to develop. One of the things I talk about when it comes to obscurity that I just wanted to highlight, that, kind of what is the purpose of obscurity? I love in 2 Corinthians 1, 8 and 9, it says this. The apostles are, they're going for it, they're building, the church is expanding. It says this, we were under great pressure, far beyond our ability to endure. This happened that we might not rely on ourselves, but on God who raises the dead. I feel like this verse speaks to, there's so much that we're going to get into, but this is one of those fundamental concepts here. Part of what happens in these pressure seasons, part of what happens in these hidden seasons, these obscure tests and preparation that you're going to go through, is that God is getting you beyond yourself. God is getting you beyond your natural ability. God is getting you far beyond your own personal ability to just kind of gut out your own promotion or gut out your own victory. God is getting you to transfer, moving from self-reliance to relying on God. And that is one of the big things that God does in this season, where I move from myself to God, from trusting in my way to putting my trust in God's way. And this is such a necessary thing, because if you're going to actually fulfill all that God has for you, all the purpose, all the plans, all the destiny, then guess what? It's going to require something beyond you. It's going to require something far beyond your own ability. So right now, this is what God is doing. He's developing you. He's preparing you. He's getting you beyond yourself to a place where you can trust God, rely on him, lean into everything that he has for you. So get ready, buckle up, begin to get prepared for this moment and lean into every chapter. I want you to dig into it. I want you to process, whether you're going through it on your own, whether you're with a group of other people. I want you to lean into these next chapters together, whether you're just listening to and watching the sessions, whether you're reading through the chapters. I want you to dig in. I want you to apply. I want you to put the work in. And as you do, guarantee you this, if you stay in the process, if you don't abort the mission that God has you on, you don't freak out and try to make your own way and make your own plans. I know many heroes in the Bible did that and it did not go well. Abraham being one of the chief of that, where God had given him a promise. The promise was being delayed. He starts trying to make it happen in his own ability, and that went south badly, right? He tries to make it all work in his own ability, and it freaks out the system. It derails his purpose for a season. It creates long-term damage in the world that we're even dealing with today. And God has to call him back. Hey, stick to the plan. I got you. I'm working something out here. Same thing with your lives. God has a plan. He's got purpose. He's got intention for you, for your future, for your calling. But you got to stay in the boat, so to speak. Don't jump ship. Don't abandon the process. And watch how God begins to prepare you, begins to promote you. And if you allow God's process of promotion rather than your own, when you get through this process, you'll be ready, you'll be equipped, you'll be prepared to step into everything that God has designed you to step into. And you won't be ill-equipped. It won't break you. It won't destroy you. It won't mess with you. You'll be perfectly suited for the mission. And that's what you want. You don't want to prematurely try to step into your calling. A lot of people do that. We see that all around society, sort of pop stars, people elevating really, really quickly to stardom, to fame, to notoriety, to wealth, whatever it is. And almost every time it bankrupts them, it destroys them, and messes with them. Why? Because they didn't go through the process. They were elevated to a place that they weren't actually prepared to handle. And God loves you too much to elevate you and to just, kind of skyrocket you past all the process, because he knows that'll break you. He doesn't want to see that happen in your life. So let's get ready. It's going to be incredible. Can't wait to do this journey with you, believing that God's favor's on you. His call is on you. He's preparing you. Stay in the zone. Stay in the process. Watch how God promotes you.